What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to College Football Talk with Peter Burnett. In today's episode, I'm reacting and giving my thoughts on the NCAA's denial of the special waiver request by Colorado and Syracuse to hold those joint practices and a spring scrimmage. But before I get into it, if you go on to enjoy this video, please feel free to leave a like, consider subscribing to the channel, and turn on those post notifications so you're always up to date whenever I upload. But going over this news, I talked about it in a couple videos ago, maybe about a week ago, about this and how I thought it was kind of a way to save spring games, but the NCAA in the last couple of days has come out and said that they are denying it. Now, I want to list the reasons that the NCAA gave for why. They gave kind of a three-part answer to why they're denying this request. And this is kind of a ladder in the NCAA, like a rung in the ladder of the NCAA. This is by the FBS Oversight Committee. They cited three factors in opposing this waiver. Number one is the late timing, as most teams have already planned out their spring practice schedules, and in some cases even concluded their sessions. The second reason is a recruiting advantage Colorado and Syracuse would receive when other teams couldn't hold a similar scrimmage this spring. And three, the potential academic impact for athletes missing classes to participate in the practices and scrimmages. To me, this sounds like a classic. It feels like, at least immediately, even after looking over these reasons, like just an immediate, stomp from the NCAA to just try to snuff this out. And they give the reasons here. I imagine there is truth in those reasons, but let's kind of go over each of these and kind of give what I think about it. So the first thing is the late timing. This is the first time this type of thing would ever happen, so of course it's probably going to be late timing. Now, maybe we'll see, teams trying to fix that, planning this further out ahead for maybe next spring. That is something that we could see moving forward in college football, that teams schedule this, potentially in the fall or even in the summer months, planning it ahead for next year. So that's something. I don't agree completely with what the NCAA lists here, because these are two teams that are deciding to do this. I don't think it puts them at a higher advantage or a disadvantage compared to other teams. If they have the structure in place to be able to manage this, and they truly believe that they can, who's the NCAA to say no that they can? Or I guess in this case, the FBS Oversight Committee. This might be an oversight here by that committee. The second thing is a recruiting advantage. I am honestly, this is kind of an initial reaction. Maybe if I thought about it some more, I could see where they're coming from, but I really don't see how this is an advantage for Colorado or for Syracuse. I really don't see how that is the case. I guess the one little piece in this is that, maybe it makes other like transfers or something like that more interested in coming to these programs, but coaches could just as easily tell recruits we're going to do something like this in the future, and I don't really see how this provides a huge advantage to either Colorado or Syracuse, especially in terms of recruiting. Now, when it comes to revenue that they might get from even the joint practices, if that's made available to the public, or especially the scrimmage, sure, that makes a bit more sense, but I really think I kind of disagree with this part of it. And finally, the potential academic impact. What if they structured these practices? Now, I will say for Syracuse, if this was to be held in Boulder, there would be travel complications, sure. And because it's such, late notice, trying to schedule around classes would probably be a bit tougher. I can agree with this point a little bit more. But for Colorado, it's kind of the case, or whichever team ended up hosting, I have to imagine it'd be the Buffaloes. You schedule these things when you'd be having practice anyway, so that's not going to impact your, academic classes at all. And then you schedule this scrimmage when the spring game was supposed to be. So unless I'm missing something, and this was going to be a different week than the week of when the spring game is, but I'm pretty sure this is kind of meant to be in place of that spring game. So I think this is just really a disappointing move by the NCAA. I'm not completely surprised that they denied it. I am, I guess, a little bit. I would say more so just kind of disappointed, and it is kind of typical of the NCAA to try to get in the way of this and to just, have some form of control. Now, the NCAA does a lot of great things. I know they get bashed a lot. I have worked, I guess, with them indirectly, covering the College World Series here in Omaha. I've worked, covering the NCAA volleyball tournament and also March Madness as well that have been here in Omaha, whether like regional sites or whatever. So I definitely don't want to come at the NCAA, but I do think this is it's a disappointing move. I think this would have been something that's really interesting to continue to grow the sport. And the NCAA has their reasons, and that's okay. I'm not here to bash them, just simply to say that, it is a disappointing move here, and I think this is something that would have been really good for the sport and even for college athletics as a whole. I mean, you actually see it in college volleyball. You have these spring leagues that teams play in, and that maybe could be something that college football could adopt in the future. I doubt it, but this would have been a step towards that. So for whatever reason, maybe they're trying to stem that from happening, try to stop that. But I think that'd be something that'd be really cool, even if it's not a full league, even if we just see more frequency of, spring games being played between two different schools. I think that would be something that'd be really good for the sport, as I said in my previous video. But those are my thoughts on this decision from the NCAA. Let me know your comments let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and what you think kind of will be the fallout from this. If you think schools will try to do it in the future, or if this will kind of shut everything down. But that's all for this episode of College Football Talk. I'm your host, Peter Burnett, signing out. Peace.